He said, you're so focused on getting the outcome that you're not focused on mastering the input. And I was like, oh, that's good. You get the results naturally. And so oftentimes we actually have to stop focusing on the end result and focus on the things that produce the result. Hey, Courtney Sanders here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to me, I'm a full-time online life and business coach, as well as wife and mom. I wear all the hats and do all the things, but I would have never even gotten to this level had I not mastered this particular mindset. And I was actually reminded of this during my tennis lessons the other day. So yes, I'm learning to play tennis. I want to be the next Serena. Just kidding, I'll never be as good as Serena, but I enjoy playing tennis. And the more I learn about my technique, I'm learning so much about life and business, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this like applies to everything. Literally, my tennis coach the other day said something, and I was like, hey, what you just said is not just applicable to tennis, it's applicable to your whole life. And so there was something that we went over yesterday, which I'll talk about in this video, and I'm like, oh man, that mindset is holding so many people back if they could just master it. So if you wanna know what it is, here it is. Okay, so going back to my tennis analogy, I am actually taking tennis lessons because I have a match planned, not like a real match, but I'm gonna be playing doubles with some of the team members who are based in South Africa at my retreat. So as I mentioned in several videos, I am currently hosting a retreat in South Africa. As I'm recording this, I'm gonna be flying out in a few days. And so there's all this prep work. In fact, I'm recording all of these videos ahead of the trip, you know, to make sure that they're done and to get them out of the way. And so in addition to that, right, I'm packing clothes, I'm recording videos, I'm like creating content, doing all these things. I'm also taking tennis lessons because I don't want to go all the way out there, you know, meet my teammates for the first time in person, you know, live in the flesh, and they love tennis. And so they're like, oh, this is so exciting. We can't wait to play with you, and just completely stink up the court, right? Like, I gotta know what I'm doing. So I'm doing this like accelerated tennis lessons where I'm basically taking tennis lessons every day just to get me up to a playable standard. And so, you know, one thing that I have a big fear around is like knocking the ball way out of the court. I know there'll be other people playing on various tennis courts, and I don't wanna be that person that is like, has no control of the ball and is always like knocking it into the other courts. And so, you know, I've been working on my forehand and my backhand and, you know, my footwork, and we've been doing all of these things. And so as I'm taking the instruction and the coaching from my coach, and I'm like learning it and trying to put it together, and then also make sure that I'm hitting the balls on the court, sometimes it works out and I'm hitting the balls on the court, but other times it's not working out and I'm still knocking them way over. And so yesterday at the end of my second or third lesson, my tennis coach said something that I thought was really profound, and I noticed that this also holds people back in business. He said, you're so focused on getting the outcome that you're not focused on mastering the input. And I was like, oh, that's good. That is so relevant to business, that is relevant to life. And I've personally seen that this has held a lot of people back, especially when it comes to growing their business and in the business coaching arena. So basically he was like, you're so focused on hitting like this perfect shot down the middle or keeping your balls in the court, that if you just focused on the process that I'm teaching you, right? Mastering, you know, your forehand, getting your racket back, mastering your footwork, getting your timing together, getting to the ball, like all these different things that you need to master. If you just master the input, right? If you just master the components, the outcome is going to take care of itself. And so I see so many people jumping from coaching program to coaching program. They're like, I need results now, I need sales now. And they wonder why they're not getting it. It's because they're not mastering the input. They're not mastering the process. They're so focused on a particular outcome. I need sales now, I need clients now, that they're not realizing that there's elements of their game that they need to get a handle on. And if they just got a handle on those things, then everything that they're looking for would come to them automatically, right? They're joining coaching programs. Oh, they said, you know, I need to create consistent content. And so they're just kind of like going through the motions and like throwing content out there. And then they're like, I don't understand why I'm not attracting clients. And it's like, but did you really master the input? Did you really master the process? Instead of trying to get clients, did you say, how can I create the best content that is possible for me? How can I create the most client attractive content that my clients would really enjoy? How can I create the most authentic brand? Like all these different elements that when put together, you get the results naturally. And so oftentimes we actually have to stop focusing on the end result and focus on the things that produce the result. In fact, I find that a lot of people, for instance, who focus obsessively on like happiness, like, oh, I want to be happy and I only want to do things that make me happy, they often end up being unhappy because they don't focus on the things that actually lead to happiness, right? Having great relationships, interpersonal relationships with your friends, with your family, with your kids, right? Imagine if you were so focused on being happy, you were like, I want to be happy and traveling makes me happy, so I'm going to travel, 10 months out of the year so that I can be happy. But then you're spending so much time away from, your family and your kids and all this other stuff that you would end up having bad relationships perhaps with your spouse or your kids, which then leads to unhappiness because now your most important relationships are unfulfilled. So this is a perfect example of this. Oftentimes we're like so obsessively focused on a particular end result that in a real way we like create the negative result that we're trying to avoid because we're not focusing on the things that automatically give us the result. So for me in tennis, he was like, I promise you, if you get your racket back, right? If you focus on your footwork and you get your timing correctly and you get to the ball, your body will take care of the rest, right? Like just as long as you do what you gotta do, just natural force of gravity and, all the physics terms that he was talking about with you swinging that racket is gonna make contact with the ball. Your arm will be where it's supposed to be. The ball will go where it is supposed to go. Focus on these core concepts. And so for you, if you're growing your business, even if you've been binge watching all of my videos, I'm asking you, are you looking for like the next hack that is gonna make you more successful? Or are you saying, okay, what are some key concepts that I know that I'm like weak on or that I'm missing in my business? And I'm gonna focus on mastering those and just trust that the results will happen once these things are mastered. I'm not gonna be so obsessive about getting clients. I'm gonna be obsessive about getting consistent with my content. I'm gonna be obsessive about developing a good framework with my coaching. I'm gonna be obsessive about getting a visible, valuable result that will make clients be attracted to me. I'm gonna focus on these things and understand that I'm gonna get the results as a result of focusing on those things. So ask yourself, is that the mindset that is holding you back? And if you want more support, in fact, I invite you to join my brand new signature coaching program, the Next Big Name Bootcamp. We do a lot of internal work, who we are, extrapolating all this to our brand and really mastering each individual process. It's a 12-month program. And so if you want to learn more about that, you can click the link below to apply. You will be invited to a call with my enrollment team if we think that you're a good fit and tell more about, how the program could possibly work for you. So if that's of interest to you, click the link below. All right, thanks so much for watching this video. If you loved it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you want even more where this came from, make sure you're subscribed to my podcast, The Courtney Sanders Show, on both iTunes and Spotify. And if you can't wait for my next podcast episode or my next YouTube video, make sure that you are following me on Instagram. It's CourtneyLSanders on Instagram. And with that, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.